Well, as the war in Gaza continues, so do the images of devastation coming out of the Strip. But in Israel itself, much of the media doesn't focus on what's happening to Palestinians there. In fact, many Israelis don't believe that people are starving in Gaza. Our international editor, Jeremy Bowen, has been speaking to people in Israel and the occupied West Bank to gauge public opinion.
On the day earlier this month when Jews mourn the destruction of their temples in Jerusalem in biblical times, the modern war in Gaza was raging 50 miles away. This was a day of prayer for them, but after more than a century of conflict between Jews and Arabs, religion and the politics of the conflict are intermeshed.
We want our hostages back. We want everybody to have peace. This is the heart of the whole world, not only our heart. When God will be here, all the world will have peace.
For some on Israel's religious right, the war is also a time of miracles, a God-given chance to reshape the country.
Amen.
In a deliberately provocative act, Itamar Ben-Gvir, one of the hardline Jewish nationalists who keep the Prime Minister in power, prayed in the compound where the temples once stood, but now is the third holiest site for Muslims. It's the best place, he said, to demand victory in Gaza. This is the other side of a deeply divided country. In Tel Aviv, secular Israelis protest every weekend against the government. They were doing this even before the Gaza war started.
We wish to replace Netanyahu's government, but specifically bring back all hostages at a deal at once and ending Netanyahu's war in Gaza, which at this point has become completely political and serving nothing but his own political survival.
Maybe if Netanyahu was here, he'd say, hang on a minute, your position is the Hamas position, because that's what they say. End the war, you get the hostages back, and then you get out of Gaza.
That's propaganda. We have a great army which can protect the border, which can stay outside of Gaza Strip and just protect the border.
At the other end of the square, hundreds of Israelis were holding up placards with the names and dates of birth and death of Palestinian children killed by the IDF in Gaza. They say their demonstrations are attracting more people, but they are a small minority. Most Israelis focus on their own traumas, their own dead, and their hostages in Gaza, not on Palestinian suffering.
Do you think there are Israelis who might consider you traitors doing something like this, betraying the country?
Of course, they do. A lot of them. They say that if we think the way we think or we act the way we act, we should just go to Gaza. This is what they say, just go to live in Gaza.
A journalist, Emmanuel Elbaz Phelps, found herself part of the national conversation about the war when she raised the plight of Palestinians on a talk show, controversial and rarely discussed on TV.
And I just say that the war is also killing a lot of Palestinians in Gaza, which is a very simple statement, no political point of view. There was no patience to listen to it.
The show's host, the former Premier League footballer Eyal Berkovic, asked her if she'd forgotten about the 7th of October attacks.
He said, I do not have to worry about the people in Gaza, they are my enemies. This is very representative of the Israeli public opinion.
It's my strong impression that the viewers, say, of Israeli news shows have not seen what's happening in Gaza to the people in the way that, say, viewers of the BBC would have.
Israeli journalists are making an incredible job from 7th of October in dire situations, but I think there is a huge difference when you talk about something and when you show something. And you will see images of Gaza from above that mainly are going to show the people how IDF is winning the war on the ground. You don't have human stories because Israelis are in pain and the stories also are happening inside of Israel.
I think you said as well that it's not even that Israel is suffering from post-traumatic stress just now, because the trauma continues.
The word outside is covering Gaza and talking about the suffer of the population in Gaza, which is right. But there is not, I think, acknowledgement of how much the Israeli people is living in a trauma. We are not in a post-traumatic area. We are in a trauma time. Hostages are dying inside the tunnels of Hamas. And the population is begging the government to find a way and make an hostage deal, make Hamas agree to it so the hostages can come home. Only when the hostages will come home, that is the stance of the majority of the Israeli population, then maybe the healing can start.
Israel's military wants more troops, but these ultra-Orthodox men and boys don't want to fight at all. They're protesting against a court ruling that they should do compulsory military service like the rest of the Jewish population. Some of them say studying religious law is how they help the war effort because God answers their prayers for victory. It's not just Israelis and Palestinians whose lives are being changed by the Gaza war. Its consequences will touch the rest of us. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Jerusalem.